Hello, welcome back to Simply Women's Health with CJ. In recognition of Cervical Health Awareness Month, today we're going to focus on cervical cancer. In the United States, every year approximately 14,000 women are diagnosed with invasive cervical cancer. Approximately 4,000 of those women will actually die from cervical cancer. Here's the thing about cervical cancer, the vast majority of it is 100% preventable. So a lot of people are not 100% sure exactly where their cervix is or what it does. The cervix is actually a structure that extends down into your vagina from your uterus. So your uterus is up here, your cervix is down here, it goes down into your vagina. It is again 4 centimeters thick, approximately 3 centimeters wide. It is the gateway that goes up into your uterus, okay? So here's the thing about the cervix. It is a reproductive organ that is at risk to develop cancer. How does the cervix get cancer? The cervix gets cancer from a sexually transmitted infection called human papillomavirus, HPV. HPV is extraordinarily common. It is estimated that approximately 80% of the sexually active population has some form of HPV. If you've had sex with more than one person or your partner's had sex with more than one person, you have a 50-50 shot of getting this virus. Within the HPV family, there are approximately 200 different strains that affect the human body. Of those 200, 40 are known to affect the reproductive system. Of those 40, 14 are actually known to cause cancer. Within those 14 strains, there's 3 that are the most aggressive. Number 16 is responsible for 50% of cervical cancers. Number 18 is responsible for 20% of cervical cancers. And number 45 is responsible for 5% of cervical cancers. So within just these 3 strains of HPV, you have 75% of your cervical cancer risk. So who is at risk to get cervical cancer? Women who have multiple partners, especially women who don't use condoms when they engage in sexual intercourse. If you have a weakened immune system, if you're living with HIV, if you are a smoker, the tobacco products actually rapidly accelerate the cancer properties of the human papillomavirus. So if you are a smoker and you have HPV, you are at increased risk to have cervical cancer. A lot of people are worried because they think that it might run in their family. Now, again, cervical cancer is caused by a sexually transmitted infection. It is not genetic. That being said, if your mother or your sister has had cervical cancer, there is a theory that you might genetically lack the ability to fight the HPV virus, which would, again, put you at increased risk. So how do you get screened for cervical cancer? Once you are 21 years of age or older, you'll make an appointment with your care provider, whether it's your primary care provider, a gynecologist, somebody that does cervical health screening, or it's also called the pap smear. You'll also hear it called a pap test. It is done in an office setting. You do not have pap smears done in the emergency room. People confuse a speculum exam with a pap smear. They're not the same thing. So you'll come into the office, your provider will insert a speculum that looks like this up into your vagina. They will find your cervix. They will collect cells with a spatula and a brush. They will send those off to be evaluated by a cytologist. If you have abnormal cells that have been detected on your cervix, your provider might recommend you come in for further evaluation with what's called a colposcopy. That's a procedure where we look at your cervix with a standing microscope and we look for any cellular change. If there's anything that looks concerning, we may do a biopsy to see if you have cells that over time might become cervical cancer. So how do you decrease your risk for cervical cancer? Try to limit the number of sexual partners that you have. And if you are going to be sexually active, engage in sexual intercourse, either oral, anal, or vaginal. Make sure that you have some kind of protection, such as a condom. If you are a smoker, stop smoking. If you are, again, over the age of 21, you want to make sure you keep up with your PAP screening per whatever guidelines your provider recommends. You can also consider getting a vaccination. There is a vaccine out there called Gardasil. It does protect you from 9 different strains of HPV, including the 3 big bad ones. That vaccination is available for anybody, girls or boys, that are between the ages of 9 and 45. Hi, if you're still here, thanks so much for sticking around through the entire video. If you feel as though this information has been helpful to you, or you think you know somebody that might benefit from the information provided in these videos, please feel free to like it, share it, and if you haven't already subscribed, I would love it if you did that. Any and all support that you can provide is so greatly appreciated. As always, these videos were not created as a replacement visit with your healthcare provider, rather as a place for you to come for basic, reliable information that is non-biased and hopefully allow you to figure out what questions to ask your healthcare provider at your next visit to best meet your healthcare needs. Again, I appreciate all of your support. If you want to contact me, my information is at the top of this screen, and I will put it in the comment section of this video. That's all I have for today. This is CJ. I'm at your cervix.